Hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you again. In yesterday's pitch, I promised to tell you about how we can use topic modeling for our open-end analysis. And that's what I want to do in the next couple of minutes. So we've all heard about the voice of the customer. And this is not just a buzzword, because businesses that listen to their customers are indeed more successful. And if you really want to know what people are thinking, the best way of doing this is probably to listen to what they're saying. And that's why we really need open-ended questions in market research. But the problem is, natural language is messy and unstructured, and it needs humans to fully understand it. And that's why analyzing open-ends is such a time-consuming business. And I'm sure everyone here who's ever coded open-ends knows exactly what I'm talking about. But there is hope. As the amount of unstructured text data is continuously growing, the market for text analytics has enjoyed an enormous boost. And when I say text analytics, I'm talking about automated approaches to analyze unstructured text data in a very fast way. And we can already see that a lot of industries already apply text analytics for various purposes. For example, in customer service to provide fast and automated responses, or in online marketing to see which text works best for your online advertisement. And there are many more examples. But let's talk about market research. Although there is a lot of potential looking at all the text data we have from open-end responses, text analytics in market research is still in its infancy. So I asked myself, how could we, as market researchers, best exploit text analytics? And I believe the most interesting method for us is topic modeling, which helps us to understand what our respondents talk about without having to code any responses manually. And it could look like in this very simple example where people talk about sports, food, and weather. But before you get too excited, there is one big issue, because the most popular method in that field, called LDA, is only suitable for longer text, like book chapters, and not for our short open-end responses. And to understand why that is, let's talk very briefly, I promise, about how LDA works. So the idea behind this technique is that the more often two words are mentioned together, the more likely they belong to the same topic. And if we look at this example, there are a lot of words around the topic sports, like games, play, rugby, and LDA, which are often mentioned together. So LDA would put them all into one topic. And the same happens for food and weather. But if responses are all really short, LDA has not much context to understand which words belong together. So that's a little frustrating, right? Does that mean topic modeling is useless for open-ends? Luckily, the answer is no, it's not. Because when taking a look at other domains that also have very short text, I was able to find one that has already successfully applied topic modeling. And I'm talking about social media, or more precisely about tweets. Because when we compare them with open-ends, there are a lot of parallels, like a similar length, an informal language style, and sometimes even the same topics. So I asked myself, why not borrow models that have shown good results on analyzing tweets and apply them to open-ends? And that's exactly what I did, and I'll come to that in a minute. So to cut a very long story short, here's the question that I asked myself. Could topic modeling be an alternative to open-end coding? And of course, as a market researcher, I tried to answer this based on data. So I used 4 different topic models. First of all, LDA, which is the state of the art in this field. And I compared it to 3 other methods that I borrowed from social media analysis. But don't worry, I won't go into any details here. But feel free to approach me later if you have any questions. And in doing this research, I wanted to find out 2 things. First of all, are the topics that we get from this method understandable? So do they help us to understand what people talk about? And aside from that, we usually want to know how many people talk about which topic. So my second question was, if we use topic modeling instead of manual coding, would we get the same topic ranking? So let's look at the results. First of all, regarding topic understandability, I have pretty good news, because the topics were understandable, and they gave us a very quick overview of what people talked about without having to code any responses manually. And guess what? The models I borrowed from social media did indeed produce better topics than the standard LDA. And regarding my second question, the topic ranking was really close to the one we got through manual coding. But I have to be honest, while it was very accurate for the most frequently mentioned topics, there were some differences for the rarely mentioned ones. But again, the social media models produced better results than LDA. OK, so what do we learn from this? After doing this research, I'm convinced that there are a lot of benefits for open-end analysis. First of all, it can save you a lot of time, the most obvious benefit. But aside from that, it can also reduce human biases, because topics are based on data and not on assumptions. But I have to be honest, like right now, at the moment, there are still some challenges. So as with any automation, there will be some inaccuracy. And also, topic modeling won't do all the work for you. So a close involvement on your side is still necessary. But we've seen so much development in this space recently, and we'll see a lot more in the coming years. So I'm absolutely convinced that topic modeling will find its way into market research. And I'm very curious about what's going to happen, and I hope my presentation made you curious too. Thank you.